Okay, take 256. Maybe not that much, but a good few. Um, okay, this is Killala Tours. The main project, I suppose, it uses the currency app. This is the front page. Again, this is an ASP.NET Web Forms project, and again, it uses the template from Visual Studio 2017. I've made some changes to the look of the master page. I've used Bootstrap again, and I used a Bootstrap template from Bootswatch called Cerulean. And even then, I made some changes based off that the template, just as colors. I redid the navigation, added in a logo. Um, Again, I use using the project template. It has authorization and a whole user-based system built in. I'll show you. I've built an admin function that can be accessed when you log in. So that's the front page. Not where I wanted it to be, but a bit of work done on it anyway. I was up to do a carousel. Didn't get that far. So press on the tours. The data and the currency both coming from Azure. I've actually the database for this hosted on Azure. I was trying to host this as well, but it wasn't successful on that. Had a few issues, so I've given up and we'll just do the video on it running locally. So here's the list of tours that are currently in here. The name of the tour, the description, the captain of the boat, the capacity, the price per person. So if we go into it to Sarah Jane, we have a picture of the boat. That took quite a bit of work to get the picture into the SQL database, especially in the admin function. So we have description here, the boat, the time, date picker to pick the date for the user, and a trip schedule. It's a separate table, which is a weekly schedule. The idea is that it'll roll on then to any week. These are the same dates and times that it can be used. Just see here that it's not in the right order. It's probably in ID order. I need to do an order by day on that, maybe to fix that. So if we pick a date, we pick it in the past. Of course, not going to give us any options. If we pick it in the future, we get on here to June. We'll pick it the 5th of June, Tuesday. It tells us that there is an available trip at 2 o'clock on the 5th of June. There's no places booked on it yet, so the boat has a capacity of 12. So we can make a booking. So here we fill in our details. To remember is me. Put in the number of that I want. So I put in 6 places. And we'll book the tour. Has a confirmation, yes or no, confirm or cancel. Adds on the VAT, gives me the total amount for 6 places, so I can confirm. Gives me the booking ID. I was hoping to do a randomized hex booking key, but for the time being, it's just using the booking ID from the table as your confirmed booking ID. Now, if we go back and have a look again on the Sarah Jane, and we pick the same date in June the 5th, and see we have 6 places booked on that trip now. And if we try to book more places, I should put in then 10, it'll give us an error. Should give us a better error than that. I haven't a lot of the error handling done right yet or finished, but there's some work in there anyway. You cannot book when it's more than the amount of places that's available. So that's the main app. If I log in, I'll use my daughter's email address. and set up for a strong password. Okay, so Joanna's logged in. We see now there's an admin tab available. Going into the admin tab, two options there. You can new tour or back up the database. Actually, in the version I've sent you, I moved the button down here at the bottom. Not sure how. I'm using the wrong version here for the demo. But that was the only change I think that was in it. So we can create a new tour, or we can edit a tour. So let's edit a tour to start with. You have the details of the tour. You can make any changes here. You can obsolete the tour. Then update. Down further we have the tour schedule, which we can decide to delete the schedule and add back in one. Set for Monday. Keep Monday. This here took forever. This is a jQuery time picker. It took quite a while to get working. Pick anyway from 1 o'clock and add that back in for Monday. So I got Monday added back in again. What I had to do is put a hidden field on there, and it takes the jQuery entry for whatever time you pick, and it puts it into that hidden field. But I suppose after it was all done and dusted, you know, I could have. That's all it gives me is a drop down really of times every half hour. I could have easily made one in an ASP, normal ASP drop down. But I suppose it is a bit of a jQuery. I thought the picker, the jQuery picker was more interactive than just picking a drop date down on a list, but obviously not. Then we also have the ability to change or upload a photograph. This took quite a bit of work to get this working. We change it to that boat image and upload it. And there's a new boat image, so upload is successful. If we go back to the tours, what is this? The Sarah Jane. Have a look at the boat. Go back to the tours. Back into Sarah Jane. You see the picture is updated. So that's basically it working or running. Now let's go through the database and the code. The database, this is a version of it running. Actually, a version of it running on SQL Express. We have the tables, and we have stored procedures. I didn't use any views. I used link to put the views together with entities that I needed. There's 3 stored procedures: the backup, confirm booking, and new booking. Basically, where there was more than one transaction happening at a time to a table, where you needed the ability to roll back. I've decided to use the stored procedures. The booking database here. Foreign key, names, telephone numbers, etc. that's there in it. Schedules. The schedule is based off, like I said, a tour, a day and a time. And then we have tours, and we have the trips. So that's all the tables that are there. Okay. Go to this one. Then in the project here, stop that. What I did was, we have the models coming in from the API. So I've created the models, the exchange rates, and that allowed us to it allowed us to put it into and use object-oriented programming when we took the information back from the API. The models then are in here. I've basically used Entity Framework again. It's created our models for us. Database first programming. There's all our screens. If you look at some of the code behind the admin, where we use the entity framework, and we load up based on the new tour coming in there. Well, it gives a new record. If it's we're updating a tour, you can basically it selects the tour here based on the ID that's come in. We save that in a session, which is the admin tour ID. This here is for uploading the boat. It's not code I wrote myself. It's a routine I've found to do that. I've had to modify it to save it into an entity rather than directly into a SQL Server database. Let's see. Here we have the schedule, and we captured the delete. If we want to delete a schedule, and it saves it, it reloads the schedules again. The button for updating the tour. So if making any changes there and you update that button, it saves the changes back to the actual tour ID that's been loaded. If it was a new tour, this is for new tour ID is 0, it then saves whatever the ID that's returned from our stored procedure. So in case further changes are made in the same admin page. Otherwise we load it in and save the changes to the database. This is where we add the new schedule, and just to show you what I had to do with the date picker, I add this routine here with a hidden field. I had to add date to it, to the time that the date picker gives, and then put that into a hidden field. That's then read when the update schedule is done. Add schedule, see it here, where's the hidden field, here we go. We take the hidden field value and put it into the selected time. This is another helper method for loading the schedules. Not a lot of discussion of the code, unfortunately. I had a lot of issues. The date picker took a lot of time to get work in. Getting the boat saved into SQL Server took a lot of work. Then doing a lot of the bindings using code behind. I didn't realize when I started using the entities that the wizards aren't working now with the latest updates. With Entity Framework 6, doesn't seem to work very well with the wizards, so I've had to do a lot of the coding that myself. That's basically it. Just show you the tour page here. The tour. We used the currency. So we used the Web API factory to get a new API factory. This sets up so that we can load in the currencies and exchange rates into a list. If it's not a post back, well then it loads the currency. It loads the tours based on the get currency. The get currency excuse me, is the routine that see here. This is load currencies to get the rate. There's some JSON in here too, if I can find it. Using the API factory. I might have put that into a separate procedure, separate model. These are the factories here. Okay, yeah. It's the API factory using the JSON, and this is our get currencies procedure that returns a list of currencies, and our get exchange rates that returns a list of exchange rates. Again, a lot of the code online has this as a task as well, a synchronous task, which I wasn't able to use because we need to load it so we can load the screen. So I had to modify a lot of the code to do that. And that's basically it. A lot of learning. Very disappointing, I suppose I didn't get further with it than I had expected to. Like I said, a lot of issues. And even yesterday trying to load it up to Azure, there seems to be issues too with Entity Framework working with the lower versions of ASB web forms. So I don't know how to get that solved, but I don't need to, I suppose, in a sense. It's only for fun and for the project. It doesn't need to be running. So any questions, let me know. Alright, thank you. Bye bye.